Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First
the
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. I hope you had a good weekend. Hope you had a good weekend. Let's see what we're dealing with today. Today's the 24th. So, our sun sign, as when we left, is Pisces and will be for the rest of this month and halfway into next month. And then we have our moon sign. Our moon sign just made a transition. We were between signs all the way until just 10 minutes ago. And we've made the transition. We are now in the sign of Capricorn. So the moon sign, the unconscious mind, is Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign. Capricorn in the tarot cards represents the tarot card of the devil. Hebrew letter Ayin, I, which is all about seeing through illusion. So we're taught with the card of Capricorn to learn to look past the illusion of the physical world to understand the deeper energies working behind it. Now, it doesn't mean that the physical world is bad. It just means to understand that there is more to it, that what we see in the physical world is but an illusion or only a part of the big picture. So enjoy the physical world, but always remember that the physical world answers to the spiritual world. It is made up of the spiritual, of the fire, the water, the air. And so as we remember that, we learn to look past it and we realize that the earth isn't the be-all, end-all. It is just part of the puzzle. So we have this Capricorn. Capricorn's also about perseverance. It deals with business. So this is the time with the Capricorn moon to really utilize those energies to manifest things into the physical world. But always remember the fire, the water, the air. Always remember that those are the background energies behind this, behind the earth. Okay, let's move from here. Let's look at our numerology for today. Our numerology today is a 6. Here's how we've arrived at that. February is 2. The date's 24th, so 2 plus 2 plus 4, that's 8. And then, of course, we know the year is a 7. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. Okay, so now we take the 8 plus the 7 is the 15, 1 and 5. So 1 plus 5, that equals 6. That's our day for today. Our tone, our number. The numerology for today is a 6 day. Okay, 6 is about balance. 6 is about equilibrium. Let's look at some other qualities of 6 here. 6 is related to the tarot card of the lovers, the sign of Gemini. So 6s are responsible, loving, self-sacrificing, protective, sympathetic, compassionate. These loyal maternal figures are domestic, fair, and idealistic healers or teachers. A 6 can overdo its inherent protectiveness and become anxious, worrisome, suspicious, paranoid, emotionally unstable, cynical, or jealous. They tend towards the conventional side. Okay? And with the tarot card of the lovers, it's all about finding that balance, balance in life, and understanding that our choices we make in life help us to understand. So within the 6s is inherent the idea of making choices. Okay, choices so that we get the proper balance we need in life. All right, that's the numerology. That's the astrology. Let's take a look at what's going on up here in the sky. During dawn on Tuesday the 25th, the waning crescent moon shines upper right of Venus in the southeast. So let's look at the sky tonight. Here's the sky tonight. We'll see the moon like this. And this is what we're going to see around it, okay? So as you look up into the sky, just kind of keep in mind this image. All right, let's move from here over to our moon phase. The moon phase is waning. 28% to go. And then we'll be back down to the new moon again. The Mayan Oracle, we're at a 13-tone day. It's called the cosmic tone. Cosmic tones are the jumping tones, which means if we're in a cosmic tone, it means we're at the last position here in the wave spell. So it's a 13-day wave spell or a 13 theme. So we've been dealing with the theme of the serpent, life force energy. And now we've gone all through this pattern here, and we've come to the point. Synchronicity and navigation. Okay? We've learned that if we tap into our energy, if we understand our energy, we ultimately get to the point of learning about synchronicity and navigation. Okay? And all these were steps along the way of things that we learned. So today, synchronicity, navigation. So it's been cosmic earth guided by the dragon. The wind, inspiration, communication is our like-minded energy. Accomplishment, healing is our challenge for today. And the hidden power is the seed, our ability to plant and grow. The phrase for today is I endure in order to evolve, transcending synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the cosmic tone of presence. I am guided by the power of birth. And if we're going to go down here to the Zolkin, we could see that we have passed this 11th right here 2 days ago. Saturday was the last day of these 10 in a row intense days. So now we've got a couple days where it's not the intense galactic activation portal days. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But on Friday, we're going to be entering the middle pillar. And the middle pillar, I think, is a very significant place. You get the first 6 columns reflect the last 6 columns. The middle pillar is not reflective in either one of these, so therefore it's the central one, which everything revolves around. It's kind of like walking into that eye of the hurricane, right in the middle part. Everything's revolving around it. So it's a very interesting time. A lot of magical things seem to happen during those phases. So that's coming up. We're not there yet. We're right here. We're jumping off. And tomorrow we're going to begin a new wave spell. We could see the next one in line here is the mirror. So today we're at the earth, and tomorrow we're going to go to the mirror. Okay, it'll be a new one. It'll be the one mirror, a new wave spell, looking at our own reflection. Okay, but we're not there yet. We're still here. Let's look at our space weather for today. Solar winds at 508.4 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is 3 and 4, between quiet and unsettled. We have one big gash type coronal hole making its way across. So we'll probably be feeling something from there. It says 28th through the 1st. That's when we'll feel this. M-class flare possibility is at 50. X-class at 5. Geomagnetic storm activity is pretty low as well. All right. That's our energy for today to get you started. Let's jump ahead to UFO news. Here we go.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. I have a whole lot of stories today. So let's get to it. The first one. This is interesting UFO over the moon on the 23rd. We're going to visit the moon for a couple of sightings here. This is, here's our object in question. Let's go here. Okay, what we've got here is we've got the moon. Obviously, this is a 4-minute video, and we shall see where we at here. Okay, this one obviously, like as with all videos, if you can enlarge the screen, it certainly looks much bigger and better. Okay. It's a nice shot of the moon though, huh? Very good shot of the moon. And we're looking for that shot of the UFO. we go. Seems to be in the right area here. Okay. I'm going to continue to follow it. It's real hard to see though. Okay, I'm going to leave this video available as always, firstcontactradio.com, so you can check it out, see what you think. But we're going to stay with the moon because here's another video. This was from another different strange light on the moon, February 13th. Okay, here's that light that they're referring to. So what do you think that is? Something's going on up there in the moon, huh? Interesting light indeed. Alright, so that's the moon, and yet one more with the moon. This is amazing UFO of strange gray recorded flying near the moon on the 21st. Okay, there's our object in question. There we go. Alright, so there you go. 3 shots of the moon, 3 things going on at the moon there. Now we're going to jump over to Texas. This is 21st. UFO orb was captured as it was changing different spectrum of colors over San Antonio, Texas. While sky watching, I noticed this red neon green flashing light high altitude. The flashes were different than FAA navigational lights. When zooming in, red neon green can be observed. It appears to be changing colors at a high rate of speed. You can clearly see an orb slowly traveling overhead, changing colors. At times it becomes completely black, as if it turns off. Alright, it's a 5-minute video. You can see all the different colors that it changed. Putting on a nice little show up there. Okay, that's pretty cool. Definite light show going on there. Okay, that's above San Antonio. Now, we're going to go over to Ukraine. And this is a recent recording there as well. 2-minute video. There's our object in question. Some sort of interesting thing. And we all know the craziness that's going on out there in Ukraine at this time. So perhaps observing what's going on. Okay, looks like, what, 3 objects, 2 objects? It's a whole grouping of them. Is that 1 or 3? It's kind of hard to tell the way it's bouncing around. At times it does look like it's all part of one thing, but it could be 3 separate. I'm guessing it looks like 3 lights on one ship. More like a triangle type thing, and the way it's moving back and forth, it looks... Okay, moving on. Now we're going to go over Fresno, California on the 21st. Got a whole bunch of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in this picture here. Okay. We were outside McDonald's saying our goodbyes. Noticed 3 orange pulsing lights in an elongated V formation, then 4 following in a straight line formation. Then another 7 in groups of 3 and 4. When they were almost overhead, they hovered and changed direction from southeast to southwest, accelerated away, and faded out. This lasted for about 10 minutes. There were a dozen people looking up and watching the objects. The local police helicopter flew overhead and was headed towards the northwest. There were several small planes in the sky. These objects were above them. Okay, good shot there from Fresno, California. And from Fresno, we're going to go to Peru. Pucallpa, Peru. Okay, multiple lights there. This is from a TV news broadcast in Peru this week. UFO appeared over a community in Pucallpa, where concerned residents talked about their sighting. There it is. And the video itself is 7 minutes long. You could see it's a very interesting looking object. Okay, I'm going to leave this one here. We're going to go on. This one's over California, MacArthur Park. Got a nice little orb. And then the morphing. It says 1 minute into video is when you really start seeing the morphing of the orb take place. Okay, we're going to jump ahead here to that 1 minute mark. There we go. Now we start to see it doing some things. Okay, this is above MacArthur Park in Los Angeles. Okay, very interesting. Now we're going to go over, we're going to take a listen to Robert O. Dean. You've heard him before. Well, he's going to tell you a little bit about Eisenhower and the Anunnaki.
Among the group that greeted the Anunnaki in '54 at Muroc, which is now Edwards Air Force Base, there was an archbishop from Los Angeles by the name of Mike McIntyre. McIntyre had been invited to be present when they landed to meet them, because I thought, well, somebody ought to be representing the church here, you know. And they brought old McIntyre over from L.A. to Muroc, and they were there for 2 days. And these guys scared the shit out of everybody with their technology. And they talked openly. The two hovered over the runway for 2 days. Just never landed. I mean, no legs or nothing. They just hovered over the damn runway. It's all on film. But the other guys come out, landed right in front of the hangar, and got out and went over and, you know, shook hands or whatever. I don't know what the hell they did. McIntyre was present because I had invited him. Well, after it was all over with, after the second day, and you guys get back in the ship and off they go, our intelligence people got a hold of McIntyre and says, "No, Archbishop, you got to understand something. You can't talk about anything you've seen." "Oh, I understand. Archbishop, this is beyond top secret. You can't say a word about what we have just experienced."
All right, so it's a little partial of what's out there. So that's what took place in '54, the president's meeting with the Anunnaki. All right, here we're going to go over to NASA scientist tells about finding life in Mars rocks during the NASA mission. Okay, there's our guy in question. There's what was apparently found. Astrobiologist Richard Hoover and his colleagues at the Center for Astrobiology at the University of Buckingham have been making worldwide headlines for years due to their proof that scientists have already obtained valid evidence of extraterrestrial life. However, other NASA scientists who still work for NASA and fear losing their jobs remain skeptical. Okay, and this video itself here, 23 minutes long. I'm not going to play any of this because once we get into it, we'd want to keep listening, and well, we don't have 23 minutes to listen to this here. So there's something for you to check out later today. And one last piece here, Pane Andov. Pane Andov believes he can provide full UFO alien disclosure. Pane Andov has been a contactee and an astral traveler from a very young age. For the first time, he is willing to speak openly about his experiences on the astral planes, a dimension that majority of people visit temporarily every night during their deep sleep, with no or very limited awareness, for a lot longer after the process known as physical death. Almost 1/3 of his controlled and conscious out-of-body experiences are about astral encounters with extraterrestrial beings. Not long ago, UFO researchers found that if you point a high-quality infrared or night vision camera with the proper adjustments at what appears to be a clear sky, you will often be able to see UFOs flying in the sky that are not visible to the visible spectrum. These technologies provide researchers with the ability to see what the human eye cannot. Pane explains that what these infrared and night vision technologies can show us is just the tip of the iceberg compared to what the vision of the astral body can reveal. In other words, the consciousness of the experienced astral traveler, after departing the physical body during a deep sleep or self-induced trance, can see everything that the infrared night vision can see and a lot more. What he has to say about the activities of the extraterrestrials in this dimension will blow your mind. He's prepared more than 2,000 extraordinary slides, and many topics will be covered with an abundance of video evidence. This information will completely change the viewer's previous understanding and insights about the UFO phenomena and the extraterrestrial intelligence in our solar system. And we click on here to find out. It says more information on tickets and venue. And here is the information. Let's see, the next meeting will be held Saturday, March 1st at the Club Burwood. And here's the information on it. Okay? So, there we go. Extraterrestrial intelligence in our solar system. Saturday, March 1st. Alright? So, the link's available so you can check that out. And I had a sighting the other day. It was an orb. I saw a silver orb. It was way, way up there. And you could see it was definitely an orb. It was flashing in and out. It wasn't flashing or morphing or anything, but in the sunlight you could see at times it would be more prevalent than others. But it was way up there, and just to see this shiny thing and then periodically see it, it's kind of cool. But that was it. An orb over Los Angeles with the other ones. That's our UFO news for today. I'll be back momentarily, so stay tuned. Here we go. This is called Confirm or Deny.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
That are secrets here. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention. Read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Underground, where they live, in the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? I can neither confirm or deny. They can neither confirm or deny. It's time for them, confirm or deny. No more secret lies. I don't know about you, but I can't stand it anymore. I know what I saw. You know what you saw. Stand up for yourself. Think for yourself. The truth is out there. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies.
All right. Confirm or deny. No more lies. All right. Where do we go from here? You know, it was an interesting weekend. I had a lot of interesting conversations with folks, but one issue that continued to come up, it seemed, from place to place where I was the issue of slavery. And very strange issue. You know, you have races blaming other races for their own problems and their inadequacies, and it's just so silly. Because at one time or another, every race has enslaved their own kind. Whites have enslaved whites. Blacks have enslaved blacks, Mexicans, Asians, on and on. Every race has enslaved its own kind. And then, at some point in time, they go out and then they impose this slavery on other races as well. But when it gets to the point where one race is imposing slavery on another race, now you start to get a different form of hatred that appears to get in there, this racism thing. See, it's okay to impose slavery amongst your own kind, but once you go out of that circle, it's very weird, very weird. I think that if we understood more about history on this planet, we might understand a little bit more that we've all been in this predicament, and we should all stop the slavery thing. Blacks, whites, reds, yellows, everyone. There's no need in this day and age for there to be slavery. There's no need in this day and age for people to not know the history of how they got to be slaves. Part of the thing that came up over the weekend is I kept hearing, you know, this conversation about how blacks were brought to America by whites. No, that's not correct. Look up history. Blacks were brought to America because blacks took blacks out of Africa and then sold them for trinkets to whites. Okay? If we just understood that much in history, then we would have a better understanding about the relationship and the dynamic between the blacks and the whites. Because right now, because of that misunderstanding, because there's not the real understanding of what happened, we still have groups of people which are angry at each other. We need to stop. Japanese should be angry because they were put in internment camps for what, a year, 2 years? You know, the Jewish should be angry because they were in prison with the Holocaust and they were killed during the Holocaust. Those were white people, apparently, by other white people. So slavery is a bad thing, folks. Doesn't matter what race you are, slavery should not be happening. Doesn't matter what race, what color, it's nonsense. In this day and age, we need to love each other more because all this nonsense is just tearing us apart. It's tearing us apart. And if we knew our history more, we might stop blaming each other. We might understand that we all need to come together and work together more to get through this problem, rather than continuing to be victims. White people continuing to be victims. Black people continuing to be victims. Asians, Mexicans, everyone wants to be a victim because somebody else victimized them. Stop being victims, okay? We've all done bad things to each other. We all need to stop, and we all need to realize that we need to heal. And healing comes from letting go of the victimization. Healing comes from when you stop pointing the fingers at the other. And you realize, yeah, what happened during all those times of slavery was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But we're not at those times anymore. We're hundreds of years later. Okay? We live at a time where we should, as we've been asked by some of our leaders like Martin Luther King, to look at the man, look at a person for the content of their character, not the quality, color of their skin. We should be at this point, all of us. And if we're not, we need to ask ourselves why. Why are we not at that point? Why has it taken us so long to get this issue? And when we can figure that out, I think we'll be doing much better as a humankind, because right now we're fighting. What happens when you start noticing someone that's green or someone that's blue? How are you going to treat them? Or red or some other color? It's very strange. We need to change. Now, part of our problems that we have is we have horrible leadership. in this country and around the world. And the leadership is not helping the average people. The sad thing is that the amount of people that make up the leadership in the United States Congress, 535 people, 307 million Americans, 535 members of Congress. And Congress has a lot of power, but they've given up their power these days, as we know. They've long turned their backs on the American people for their own personal agendas. And it's unfortunate. And so this infighting goes on. And so as people in America watch this and they see this infighting, it just continues to push the issues of racism, of warring, of arguing, because that's what the government does. The government fights. They go out and they create wars, and they want to create a war amongst the people. The governments seem to be wanting to create a race war. Blacks against whites, against Mexicans, against yellows. They want everybody fighting with each other because of the color of the skin. But here's the thing. We don't have to play into that game. No matter what skin color you are, just don't buy into their game. You don't need to fight with someone else because their skin color is different. Don't need to do it. So let me show you some examples of some things that are going on out there in the world. Now, part of the thing we know is Obamacare is not helping people. Okay? There are those who say it is and those who say it aren't. But when we have a situation where we have people that are in Congress that are Democratic congressman calls cancer survivor whose insurance was killed by Obamacare a liar. Okay? Democratic Congressman Gary Peters voted for Obamacare. That disastrous vote made life worse for a lot of people. Now Gary Peters is running for Senate and trying to silence a leukemia survivor whose life he ruined. Julie Boonstra, a cancer patient who was kicked off the health plan due to Obamacare, lashed out at Representative Gary Peters on Saturday after lawyers for his campaign demanded that Michigan broadcasters cease airing ads featuring her story. Boonstra, a Michigan resident, was diagnosed with leukemia 5 years ago. She was recently kicked off her health care plan due to regulations passed as part of the Barack Obama's Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which Peters voted in favor of. After relating her story publicly in an ad produced by the advocacy group Americans for Prosperity, Peters dispatched lawyers to prevent the spot from running on local television stations. Boonstra said she is now struggling to pay for out-of-pocket for her rising health care costs, told the Washington Free Beacon she is stunned by Peters' efforts to censor her story. I'm appalled. I'm appalled as a mom, as a woman, as a cancer patient, as someone living with cancer who has stood before this nation to say, I cannot afford that out-of-pocket expense. And Boonstra, who said she was given a 20% chance of surviving her disease, as a Michigan resident to silence my voice, I'm absolutely appalled. Peters, who was running for a seat in the Senate, instructed his legal counsel earlier this week to demand that stations stop running the AFP ad until additional evidence of the cancer victim's claims could be produced. I'm very surprised, Boonstra said just 1 hour after she attempted to confront Peter face-to-face at his Bloomfield Hills residence. I have every right to tell my story and express my point of view and opinion on how Obamacare affected me. Well, there's more to the story. I'm not going to go on there, but does a politician really have that much power that he should be able to go to the press and the press should listen to him? And if that's the case, how did we get that way? You see, we hear stories on both sides of the fence. There's those who are saying Obamacare is good, Obamacare is bad. Okay? There's a problem with it. We can see that. I don't believe it's out there to help anybody. I don't believe that it was ever set up to intentionally help anybody. Because as I've said, I believe the man in office is a Muslim terrorist. And therefore, I believe his actions, the things that he's doing, are intended to tear this country apart. But that's just me. That's because I'm just reading and seeing all the clues out there, and I kind of feel like there's something that isn't making sense. But when you put it in the context of the Muslim connection, the terrorist connection, suddenly all makes sense. Now you see what he's doing, and you say, oh, it's not so strange. Now, Congress. Here's some more on Congress. You see, even though there's bad things going on, and we can see that there's bad things going on, we do have the ability to do something about it, or at least our Congress does. They are supposed to be the checks and balances for the president, but they've long since been doing that. It only takes one member of Congress to start impeachment. In his February 21st interview with LaRoche Pack, Professor Francis Boyle of the University of Illinois made the point strongly that it would only take one member of Congress to initiate impeachment proceedings against Barack Obama, noting that the Republicans control the House and that they can impeach Obama tomorrow if they want. Professor Boyle explained, I think all we need is one courageous member of Congress, probably a Republican, willing to introduce a bill of impeachment into Congress as soon as possible and to the House, and to get the ball rolling. I think there's a lot of support for it once it's there. Professor Boyle noted that his experience with these matters have been counsel to Representative Harry Gonzalez when Gonzalez introduced a resolution of impeachment against George H.W. Bush. All we need is one member, Boyle emphasized, and that member can even do it orally. He noted that there is a special procedure under which a member can get up on the floor and read the article of impeachment right then and there if that's what he or she wants to do. We have 535 members of Congress. Have you seen one of them that has any courage at all that is willing to do this? Sure, you hear them talk a big game. Ted Cruz gets out and talks a big game, but where's the articles of impeachment, Ted? Or how about Rand Paul? Where's the article of impeachments, Rand? Oh, that's right. You sold out your father, and so you don't have any integrity. So we know that even though you're talking, it's just a bunch of BS. Got it. What about the other ones? What about you other Congress people out there? There's got to be one of you, because you complain a lot about how bad this is. One of you. They're not doing it. You know why? Because they are all in on the fix together. They don't care about Americans. They don't care about America. All they care is about their paychecks. All they care about is keeping their power. So, as Americans, we need to understand this, that they're not out to help the American people, because if they were, then they would. But they don't, because they're not interested in doing that. It's just a big game. So as American people and people around the world, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves and realize that humankind, the men of the world, the male consciousness, the mind consciousness, the women consciousness, what's taking place in this world is not doing any favors. So we have to reach to the spiritual, because that's the only place we're going to be able to find solutions, because we're not finding it here on earth, not from the people that are out there that are supposed leaders. They're not leaders. Would you consider any of those people that are out there leaders? No. No, they're not. Now, here's a story. It says Pentagon plans to shrink the Army to pre-World War II level. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel plans to shrink the United States Army to its smallest force before World War II, build up and eliminate an entire class of Air Force attack jets in new spending proposals that officials describe as the first Pentagon budget to aggressively push the military off the war footing adopted after the terror attacks of 2001. The proposal, described by several Pentagon officials on the condition of anonymity in advance of its release on Monday, takes into account the fiscal reality of government austerity and the political reality of a president who pledged to end two costly and exhausting land wars. A result, the officials argue, will be a military capable of defeating any adversary, but too small for protracted foreign occupations. Officials acknowledge that budget cuts will impose greater risk on the armed forces if they are ordered again to carry out two large-scale military actions at the same time. Success would take longer, they say, and there would be a large number of casualties. Officials say that a smaller military could invite adventurism by adversaries. You have to always keep your institutions prepared, but you can't carry a large land war. Defense Department when there is no large land war, a senior Pentagon official said. Okay, so something's going on, some kind of changes. Are these positive changes? Are these not positive? I don't know. I don't know. I just know that the men in office right now, I don't trust them. And I don't think you should either. And I think most Americans don't trust them. And for the mainstream media, I don't trust them either, because they're protecting the ones in office. You see, it's not too difficult when one person sees a lie, sees some mistruth, to be able to correct it. You do it every day of your lives, right? When you see things that are off, you go and you fix them. I do the same thing. Others do the same thing. It's just a normal process. Well, when we see problems that aren't getting fixed, and we know that they can be fixed, and they're not getting fixed, the only understanding is they don't want to fix them. Okay? There's a big game going on against the American people, and unfortunately, they seem to have put themselves on the side of us against them. It's too bad. It's too bad. America was once a great country, and it's sad to see where we've come. Are the men and the women of America going to stand up and fight for this country and defend it? We'll find out, because it's being taken over. It's being taken over by tyrants. And as long as men and women of this country continue to defend the tyrants, as long as Republicans and Democrats continue to defend the tyrants that are representing them and putting them in office and continue to support them, there'll be a problem. But when men and women wake up and realize that the whole thing's a sham and all that they are being used for is cannon fodder for some agenda, some political agendas, maybe you'll think differently. Maybe we will all think differently. That's something that we could only hope for, right? Right. Okay. So, we know there's lies in the world. We understand that. So, I just want to give you a little example of some of the things that are out there. Believe me, it's not the be-all, end-all of all that's out there as far as the lies and the mistruths. They're out there every day. But we don't want to focus on those. We want to focus on the positive. We want to focus on other things going on in the world, because those are things we can change and things we can do. And so being aware of the bigger plan rather than the plan of a few corrupted and perverted, power-hungry individuals on this planet, a much important thing. So this next story here talks about a tiny piece of crystal. It's the oldest known piece on Earth. Scientists using two different age-determining techniques have shown that a tiny zircon crystal found on a sheep ranch in Western Australia is the oldest known piece on our planet, dating to 4.4 billion years ago. Writing in the Journal of Natural Geoscience on Sunday, the researchers said the discovery indicates that Earth's crust formed relatively soon after the planet formed, that the little gem was a remnant of it. John Valley, a University of Wisconsin geoscience professor who led the research, said the findings suggest that early Earth was not as harsh a place as many scientists have thought. To determine the age of the zircon fragment, the scientists first used a widely accepted dating technique based on determining the radioactive decay of uranium to lead in a mineral sample. But because the scientists hypothesized that the technique might give false data due to possible movement of lead atoms within the crystal over time, the researchers turned to a second sophisticated method to verify the finding. They used a technique known as atom probe tomography that was able to identify individual atoms in the lead in the crystal and determine their mass, and confirm that the zircon was indeed 4.4 billion years old. To put that age in perspective, the Earth itself formed 4.5 billion years ago as a ball of molten rock, meaning that its crust formed relatively soon thereafter. 100 million years later, the age of the crystal also means that the crust appeared just 160 million years after the formation of the solar system. The finding supports the notion of a very cool Earth, where temperatures were low enough to sustain oceans and perhaps life earlier than previously thought. The zircon was extracted in 2001 from a rock outcrop in Australia's Jack Hills region. For a rock of such importance, it is rather small. It measures only 200 by 400 microns, about twice the diameter of a human hair. Okay, so very small, but it just goes to show that there are many mysteries upon this planet which are still being discovered, and scientists, well, they're going to be more surprised, because they seem to always be surprised that they find something that shows Earth is older than they thought it was. But it doesn't seem to surprise those who study UFOs. They seem to have an understanding. So maybe the scientists should start looking at the UFOs and they'd have a more in-depth understanding. Okay? Now, remember Dolores Cannon? Remember her talk about the 5D world and all the changes? Well, this is about her. Dolores Cannon. We are living in the most important time in our history in the universe. Dolores Cannon's career has spanned over 4 decades, during which time she has worked with thousands of clients in regressive hypnotherapy sessions. With over 17 published books on the subject, Dolores Cannon can easily be considered one of the world's most sought-after professionals in the field. Popular subject matter touched upon the numerous books: Past Lives, Extraterrestrials, Life on Other Planets, Energy Healing, famous historic figures such as Nostradamus and Jesus, abductions, and the list goes on. Each book has a tendency to bend the reader's mind like a pretzel, Dolores explains. One of her latest books, The Three Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth, is an ensemble of regressive hypnotherapy client sessions which narrates a behind-the-scene look at Earth's current paradigm shift. During the sessions, Dolores hypnotizes her clients, bringing them into superconsciousness brainwave state, one of the deepest trance one can experience. Dolores elaborated on her technique in an interview with The Edge. I developed my own technique down through the years. It's not like any other hypnosis technique out there. We're able to contact what I call the greatest force there is, and it's a source of all knowledge. I found the way to have it come through every single person that I work with, and I've worked with thousands of people. The results of her techniques are astounding, to say the least. Through the years, Dolores began to notice a correlation among her client sessions, one that bridges the journey of the souls incarnating on the planet at this time. When you see thousands and thousands of clients, as I do as a therapist and a counselor, you begin to see a common thread going through many of the cases. Earlier on, it used to be that everybody would go back a past life and I'd find some answers there, and then I'd explore the source of all knowledge to answer all of their questions and do the healing. Just in the last 5 years or so, I began to see clients who weren't going into past life on Earth. I began to find they'd never been on Earth before, and they have come here directly from God, from the source, from other planets, other dimensions, where they were light beings. That's the common thread I've been finding, and that's what I came up with the theory of the three waves of volunteers. Dolores' many purposes theory proposes that a series of souls are traveling from other planets and dimensions to assist Earth at this time. Many of the souls, which are of higher vibration than the resident Earth souls, are incarnating on the planet for the first time. She affirms that the souls that have spent many lifetimes incarnating on Earth are stuck in a karmic cycle, repeating the same patterns of mistakes and lessons, which ultimately lead to the destruction of the planet. Thus, there has been a calling for purer souls to come to Earth to cleanse and raise the planet's vibration. But now, in body, these people don't have any memory of why they came. They came in, and an amnesia descends on the person, losing the memory of why they are here. But this group has an energy that they have to project. It is a loving energy that will change the mindset here on Earth. It will change history, just them being here. Throughout her clients' journeys, Dolores discovered that Earth is one of the densest planets in the entire universe. A soul that incarnates here is considered brave because life on Earth is a very challenging experience to come into, especially for souls coming from higher realms and planets of higher vibration. Nevertheless, all of her clients have had the same answer when asked about the reason for coming to Earth. They simply heard the call. The Earth was going through a major transformation, one that Dolores' clients state has never happened before. For the first time, an entire planet is shifting its vibration into a dimensional frequency. Many souls or groups have experienced a shift like this in the past, for example, the Mayans, but never has an entire planet shifted at once. Therefore, Dolores explains, the entire universe has front row seats to one of the grandest shows ever seen. However, help is needed because man has polluted this planet with a vibration so dense that it threatens the survival of the planet as a whole. Dolores reveals that if the planet blows itself up, it will reverberate throughout the universe, affecting and disturbing all beings. Therefore, the call for help was made, and the souls quickly jumped on the wagon to assist. Now, here's a list of the three waves. If you recall, Dolores talks about the three waves that came in. The first wave, now in their late 40s to early 60s, these volunteers are disturbed by the violence, anger, and hate that they experience on Earth. They've had the hardest time adjusting to life as humans, and many of them try to commit suicide. The second wave, now in their 20s and 30s, these volunteers are more comfortable in bodies and are said to be beacons and channels of energy who can affect others just by being near them. Their mission of just sharing their energy with others means they don't have to do anything but just be. In the third wave, these new children, many of whom are now teenagers, have all of their knowledge needed to exist on this planet after the dimensional shift and transformation takes place. Their DNA is more advanced, and the greatest challenge they face is being misunderstood by humans as having a condition, ADHD, that needs to be medicated. Interesting though, her client sessions, Dolores has also written extensively on the lost civilization of Atlantis. She discovered that, like Atlantis, there have been numerous civilizations that have been destroyed in the past. Each time when people get to a point when they are using energy in the wrong way and couldn't control it. They had to be stopped. And every time, everything would reset on the planet, and civilization would go back to the primitive stages and start all over again. That's why they don't want to have it happen this time. They don't want to start over with this planet and begin life for humanity one more time. During a hypnotherapy session, a woman went back to Atlantis and was telling me the prime reason for Atlantis being destroyed. I was told that there were scientists at the time of Atlantis. There were others who were fooling around with what was called dark matter. It was told that this same scientists are doing now are fooling around with what we call antimatter. They said that we have to know this because the scientists are doing the same thing now. The Large Hadron Collider experiment in Switzerland is the same thing. They are messing around with antimatter. The scientists who are now fooling around with the collider experiment don't have any idea what they are doing, and it's very dangerous. If those experiments had continued at the time in Atlantis, it would have broken down the grid of the planet, causing an implosion of the Earth, and it would have reverberated to the point where it would have broken down the grids of the entire universe. But they stopped it before it got that point, but destruction took place. When asked about the people's criticism of her work, Dolores says she finds humor in people's remarks stating that she is a great science fiction writer. There's no way on earth I could make this stuff up. I have 17 books out there, and all of it has to come through the cases I have worked on with the average person just walking in off the street. I did not know these people until they came through the door of my office, from every walk of life you can imagine. CEOs of companies, professors of colleges, priests, shamans, and many ordinary people. I have not found anyone who has not had a past life. When I began writing the Convoluted Universe series, I wondered if anybody out there would be able to understand it, because I said that the book is for people who want their minds bent like pretzels. People, when they read it, said, I know this, and I don't know how I know it, but I know it, and I know it's true. In the final segment of her interview with The Edge, Dolores was asked if there are any final thoughts you want to leave people regarding the shift in consciousness. We are moving into a new frequency, a new dimension, where it is going to be the new Earth, and it's going to be extremely beautiful. They have described it in the books, the beautiful colors, and everything is total love. We're moving away from the negativity of the old Earth, and it's going to be a complete turnaround beyond belief, and we're all going there now. The new Earth is where it's at. The Bible and the book of Revelation talks about the new heaven and the new earth. Well, that's the same thing we're having now. It's just that St. John, when he had the vision of the Isle of Pathos, didn't realize he was going to take another couple thousand years before it was going to happen. The most important thing is that we are living in the most important time in history of the universe, and it's very important to be here now. There are thousands of souls who want to be here and to experience this, even if they can just be here for a few hours. They say even if they're born and die right away, they can say, I was there when this occurred. This is how important this is to the entire universe. So you're living in a very wonderful time, and that will never be repeated again. All right, so there you go. That's Dolores' Cannon's information, and very fascinating. So, again, it confirmed, and it just kind of goes over the shifts that we're going through, right? Going through these shifts, very important. We just need to turn our focus away. That's why I'm focusing away from all of the negative. We'll look a little bit at what's going on so we're aware. But the focus needs to be on the positive of where we're headed, not where we're going. Okay, it's sort of like you've heard the analogy, or maybe you haven't. In a car crash, they say that if you're in a race car and if you're headed for the wall, you don't look at the wall, you look away and you look to where you're turning to turn away. That's what we need to do. We need to turn away from the disaster. We could see the disaster. All of the man-made things that we have going on, the man-made government, it's a disaster all around the world. And it's collapsing, it's tearing people apart, it's creating wars. We need to turn away from that. That's what we're doing. Now we're going to go listen to Saul. This is his message. Here we go.
Saul, the force field of love is truly beyond the powers of your mind to imagine.
February 19, 2014, by John Smallman.
Saul,
here in the spiritual realms, as we watch over you most lovingly and compassionately, we are very well aware of your anxiety and impatience as time rolls on with no apparent sign of humanity's awakening. Remember, it will be sudden, unexpected, even though you are expecting it, and your joy and wonder will overwhelm you as it happens. And of course, that moment, the moment for it to happen is drawing ever closer, so continue to hold your light on high as you have been doing and know that all is perfectly and divinely taken care of. The field of love enveloping you has been constantly intensifying this year, and there was an enormous energy boost to it on the 14th of February, as many of you are well aware. Love is the answer to every situation, every issue, every problem, and it has been quietly and gently infiltrating every culture, race, religion, nation, in fact everywhere that people live on the planet. It is unstoppable and inescapable. Look at the good news that is being reported in so many places, largely as a result of the enormous amounts of love that you are all intending and sending, so that suffering may be relieved and fear and anger dissolved, as you so ably assist in humanity's awakening process. Often the events reported may seem small and not terribly significant, but that is not the case, as they all intermingle, and add immeasurably to each other, further intensifying the field of love that envelopes you all. The force field of love is truly beyond the powers of your mind to imagine. Just know, as you do at the center of your being, that nothing can prevent God's plan for you from coming to fruition. God is all, and your illusory but so real seeming environment will disintegrate as your hearts open to align with His in unconditional acceptance and love of every aspect of His divine creation. The oneness of God with all of His creation, thus embracing all life, can no longer be sensibly denied now that your science has discovered that everything in the cosmos is connected to and affects everything else. Yes, many are still claiming that what is exists by chance, that there is no intelligence underlying all that exists, but this view or opinion can no longer be supported scientifically, as the evidence proving otherwise is there for all to see. Denying it does not dissolve it. And in that oneness the love of God resides, enfolding all that exists in eternal life. Not eternal bodily life, because your bodies are part of the illusion that you built to attempt to experience separation from your source, and when the illusion fades away, as it will because it is illusory, so will all those supporting parts from which it was constructed. It is life that is eternal, and when the illusion dissolves, life will be experienced and lived fully, as always divinely intended, in utter and uninterruptible joy. When you chose to build the illusion and make it seem so real to you, you wanted to experience separation from God to prove to yourselves that you did not need Him. As humans living the illusion, it would make no sense at all to have limbs surgically removed to prove that you did not need them. Yes, with modern medicine it has proved possible to keep humans alive without many of the normal limbs and organs with which you are born, but of course that places great restrictions on the individual concerned. Mostly they learn to deal with the situation, but they would most certainly not choose it if other more adequate options were available. Choosing the illusion was an even more restrictive choice that you made. Separation from God is impossible, but to pretend that you are separated is possible, and that pretense has brought you all the pain and suffering that you undergo as humans. But you have had enough, and the collective decision and intent has been made to awaken from the nightmare that the illusion has become over so many eons. That collective decision and intent is what will bring you to a state of full wakefulness. Because you were created with free will, which is always honored, that new choice will bring you home from the dream to reality, your eternal state of existence, and once more your joy will be complete and eternal. With so very much love, Saul.
Alright, very nice. Nice message confirming the importance of sending love out into the world. Alright, let's do our, we're going to go into our meditation for today. So let's go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Alright, let's contemplate this affirmation. This comes from the Agape Church. All the good of God is always mine to receive. Joyfully I discover, uncover, and reveal my true spiritual gifts. Today I extend my field of gratitude and expand my awareness of God. Opinion-free living and divine right-seeing are mine today. I am healed and whole in every area of my life. Gracefully I live these words of truth, and so it is. and continue to further contemplate these words. I am social and I like meeting people. Allow that affirmation to move through your mind. So as you go out into the world, you understand the socialness of who you are, and you go out and you meet new people. And just contemplate the love that you have within your soul. The love that exists within your being. And understand how your body loves itself, that it keeps moving and going day after day, year after year. And think about that love that connects you to the earth and to all the people around in your life. And just allow that feeling, that love, to go out into the world and to connect with others. Just send love out unconditionally to those that you have never met before. And now send love out unconditionally to all of those leaders in your country. The ones that are causing the problem, send into the top of the prayer list, for they need the most love. And just keep sending them this love, that they might change their ways, that they might understand the way in which the corruption has taken hold of them, and they may let go of the corruption. Let us pray for the leaders all around this world, that their minds may be opened to the grace of God and the goodness of God, and that from this moment forward they may begin to find ways to help the people as opposed to hurt the people. Let's just keep sending love all around the planet over and over and over again, so this love overwhelms everybody. So either that love transforms them and changes them into a being of love, or that love overwhelms them so much that they just cannot maintain that frequency. It overwhelms their negativity and they disappear from the planet. Either way, love will do its job. So let's just imagine this planet of love, with all the doubts and the fears and the negativity gone. All those who are causing the problems, the doubts, the fears, and negativities, imagine them gone as well. And imagine this only a place of good, a place of God, a place of love. A place where everyone gets along. A place where everyone loves everyone and understands the value that we have individually and collectively. So let's just keep thinking good thoughts for everybody as we go into the world today, and just allow that energy, that vibration to go out and silently inspire others that we meet along the way. So let our subconscious mind continue out into the world, sending out love and light. And let our conscious mind come back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. That'll get us started for the week. Thank you very much for being here. Just a little side note. I'll probably only mention this one time, but I did add to the First Contact Radio page a donate button. I did so because I had some requests from a number of you who had asked if there was a way that you might be able to do some contributions or something. I appreciate that very much. The show for me has never been about money. It's about putting the word out there, so I'm very appreciative that some of you have asked this, and there is a button now, and thank you very much. That's it, and I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Y'all have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.